Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Holland and we're going to be doing lesson 11.2, which starts on page 807. And there's some important things at the bottom of that page. We're going to be using customary units, which is sometimes called English units. It's the foot, the inch, the yard, the mile. These are not metric units. And you'll notice that they have some conversions there. They tell you that 1 foot equals to 12 inches. They tell you that 1 yard equals to 3 feet, or it could equal to 36 inches. And that 1 mile equals to 5,280 feet. Or it could also equal to 1,760 yards. So this is good information to know to make these conversions that we're going to be doing today. An important thing that they talk about is converting, when you're converting a large unit to a small unit. So let's say that I've got 3 miles and I want to convert that into feet. So I want to convert this into feet. So when I go from a large unit to a small unit, you should multiply. So this would be a large unit because it's miles. We're talking about miles. So this would be a large unit, and this is a small unit. And so when you go from the large unit to the small unit, you should multiply. If you were doing something like 16 inches, and I was converting that into yards, let's just do that, yards, then this is the small unit. Inch is very small compared to the yard. And so you're going to divide. So let me get those examples again. 3 miles, and I want to convert that into feet. So I know my conversion is that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And that equals 1 mile. So I want to be able to convert this. I'm going to do 3, and I'm going to be multiplying 3 miles times the 5,280 feet in every mile. Multiply that out, and that's going to give me the how many feet are in 3 miles. And so you'd have to actually do the math here. You'd have to do 5,280 times 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 8 is 24. Carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus the 2 is 8. And 3 times 5 is 15. So there are 15,084 feet in 3 miles. And notice we multiplied. Now, I got to tell you, I am not a big fan of that method. Coming from engineering, I don't think that's a very good way of keeping up with it. So I'm going to show you my way, but I know some people don't like my way, but I think my way is a great way of keeping up with it. It's called fence posts. And so what you're going to do is you're going to put down the thing that you're given. So I was given 3 miles, and then I have this fence post that I made. Notice it looks like a fence post. And I know one thing. I know that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile, but this is also true. 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So I've got these 2 facts right here, these 2 conversions, and I'm going to use the one that I'm going to put the one up here where miles will be on the bottom, because then I can cancel out. And so that's this one right here. This one has miles on the bottom, and so I'm going to put up here 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Now notice what I can do now. I have miles on the top, miles on the bottom. I can cancel those out. Everything on the top gets multiplied together, and everything on the bottom gets multiplied together. So I multiply everything on the top. I know that that's going to be, what did we say, 15,000, the 800 and, can't remember now what it was, 840. And everything on the bottom is a 1. So my answer is going to be 15,840. And that's going to be in feet, because that's what I have left over, 15,850 feet. Now, what I like about this is that it doesn't matter. I can flip it if I need to, and I can still get the same answer. Let me show you another example of that. Let's say I was given the opposite. Let's say I was given that I have that I have 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet, and I want to know how many miles is this. Now remember, I have two facts. I know that there are 5,280 feet per mile, and I also know that 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So both of those I could use. I'm going to start off with what's given, which is the 10,000 feet. And now when I put my fence post up, I need to have feet on the bottom. So feet needs to be on the bottom. So this one right here fits the what I need. So I'm going to put 1 mile here on top. And I'm going to put 5,280 feet right here. And then I'm going to multiply across. 10,000 times 1 is 10,000. And then there's nothing there, so it's going to be 5,280. And then I just have to divide that out. So 10,000 divided by 5,280. I know that's going to go once. And let's see, 5,280. And let's see. It gives me a 2, 7, 4. So I got 4,720 left over. I can bring down a 0, put a decimal up there, and I can keep working this problem until I find out that it's going to be almost 1.8, 1.9 miles by the time I finish all this. And that's going to give me how many miles that is. The way that they teach it in the book is that if you had this many feet, you're going from feet and you want to go to miles. You're going from a small unit into a large unit, and so that means you have to divide. So they just tell you right there it's 10,000 feet, and I'm going to divide it by that 5,280 feet per mile. Same idea, but I think it's easier to keep up with when you have the fence post. Okay, let's look at some examples, some other examples. That was just me kind of going off on my engineering bent. But let's just look at some other examples here. If I was given 60 inches and I want to know how many feet that is. Now remember, I can look on page 807 and I know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. And this is a small unit and it's going into a large unit. So that means I'm going to divide. I know that I'm going to be dividing. So I'm going to take the 60 inches, divide it by 12 inches per foot, and that's going to give me 5 feet when I do that kind of math. Let me show you my way again. 60 inches, do my fence post. I've got 12 inches is 1 foot. I need to have inches on the bottom, so it's 12 inches, and 1 foot's going to be on the top. Multiply together, I got 60 on the top. Multiply everything on the bottom, I get 12, and then when I divide that out, I get 5 feet. Okay, so I get the same answer right there. Let's do another one. Let's do 16 yards is how many feet? 16 yards is how many feet? So I'm going from a large unit to a small unit. I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. And so I'm going from a large unit to a small unit, so I need to multiply. I'm going to be multiplying. So 16 yards, I'm going to be multiplying it by 3 feet per yard. And when I do that, I end up getting 48 feet. Let's do it my way one more time. 16 yards, do my fence post. Here's the conversion that I'm going to be using. I need to have yards on the bottom, so it's going to be yards is on the bottom, 3 feet is on the top. I multiply across, I get 48 over 1, so that means it's going to be 48 feet. And notice I can cross out yards and yards right there. Okay. I think you've probably done conversions before in the past. This is just to reacquaint you again on what we're doing. Page 807 is going to be where you're going to look for your conversions to see which ones you've got. And you will, in actuality though, wait, let me just, one more thing I need to talk about before we go there. Here we're doing 42 inches, and we're going to turn that into feet. So I'm going from a small unit into a large unit. So that means that I need to divide. I'm going to be dividing because it's a small unit going to a large unit. So 42 inches, and I know that it's the that there are 12 inches in a foot. So I know I've got 12 inches per foot. That's my conversion, equals 1 foot. That's the conversion I'm going to use. And so I'm going to be dividing that out. And notice that that's not very perfect. So if I look at this right here, let's just go ahead and see what we can do here. If I multiply that by 3, I get 36, and I'm going to subtract that, and I end up with 6. Ended up with 6, remainder 6. And so let's think about what that means. So that means that I've got 3 feet. That's the answer right here. That's how many feet I have, is 3 feet. The remainder 6 is how many inches I have left over. So I have 6 inches left over. 3 feet and 6 inches is how much 42 inches is. It's 3 feet and 6 inches. So the remainder is going to be important because it's going to be whatever unit is the smaller unit that you were dividing out. If I look at number 10 on page 809, so page 809, we have number 10. It says 22 feet is how many yards and how many feet. So there should be a remainder, right? There should be a remainder because it turns out that it's not going to be perfect. 22 is not perfect. I know my conversion is 3 feet equals to 1 yard. So let's just see, I'm going from a small unit into a larger unit, which is yards. So that means I'm going to be dividing. Going from small to large, you divide. You're going to be dividing. So 22 feet divided by 3. Let me do the math here. 22 divided by 3, that goes 7 times 3 is 21. Subtract that, and I have a remainder of 1. So that means that my answer is going to be 7 yards and 1 foot. And 1 foot. So my answer is going to be 7 yards and 1 foot. The remainder here is important because it will give you how much you have left over. I think I showed a decimal before, but I think we're going to stick to units. To do the remainder and not worry about the decimals. So I want everyone to complete page 809, and let's do 8, 10, 11, and then 8, 12. So that'll be homework for tonight, and give me a call if there's any problems. Thank you.